Have you ever felt a presence watching you from the corner of your eye while hiking in the mountains? A tall, shadowy figure standing silently on a distant ridge, only to vanish when you look again. If you've been in California's Santa Lucia Mountains, you might have just encountered the Dark Watchers. For centuries, stories have circulated about these mysterious, featureless silhouettes. They are described as massive, human-like figures, often seen wearing broad-brimmed hats or carrying walking sticks. They appear at twilight or dawn, standing motionless against the sky, observing travelers from afar. But they never approach. If you try to get closer, they simply dissolve into the landscape, leaving you to question what you just saw. The first written accounts trace back to the Spanish conquistadors, who described these strange Los Vigilantes Oscuros, the Dark Watchers. Later, Anglo-American settlers shared similar tales, but these aren't just old campfire stories. Even the famed author John Steinbeck, who grew up in the Salinas Valley, was captivated by them. In his story Flight, he wrote about the figures, noting, "No one knew who the Watchers were, nor where they lived, but it was better to ignore them and never to show interest in them. It was local wisdom to respect their distance and leave them be." Modern hikers, ranchers, and tourists continue to report sightings to this day. They describe a powerful, unnerving feeling of being observed by something ancient and intelligent. Photos are almost impossible to capture. By the time you raise your camera, they're gone. This has led to all sorts of speculation. Are they spirits, interdimensional beings, or is there a more scientific explanation? Some experts propose a fascinating optical illusion called the Brocken specter. This phenomenon occurs when an observer stands on a high-altitude peak with the sun behind them. Their shadow gets cast onto the clouds or mist below, creating a magnified and sometimes eerie human-like figure. The hat and staff could simply be the distorted shadow of the observer's own head and hiking poles. As the clouds shift, the specter can appear to move or vanish suddenly, which perfectly matches the descriptions of the Watchers. Another theory points to pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see familiar patterns, like faces or figures, in random shapes. A strangely formed rock, a gnarled tree trunk, or a trick of light and shadow on a distant ridgeline could easily be interpreted by our minds as a looming sentinel, especially in the low light of dusk and dawn. The feeling of being watched might just be our primal instincts kicking in when we re alone in the vast, quiet wilderness. But for those who have seen them, these scientific explanations don't always capture the full experience. They speak of a palpable presence, a feeling that goes beyond a simple trick of the light. The legend of the Dark Watchers is woven into the very fabric of the Santa Lucia Range. It's a reminder that some mysteries are part of what makes our world so compelling. So, what do you think? Are the Dark Watchers a natural phenomenon, a collective myth passed down through generations, or something else entirely? The next time you're hiking in the mountains of coastal California, keep an eye on the ridges. You never know who or what might be watching. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. See you next time.